Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be shedding light on why most people do not build up recurring revenue streams. So why do most people desist, abstain, and refrain from building up recurring revenue streams? Why do most people neglect to build up recurring revenue streams? Why are they deterred to cultivate recurring revenue streams? Well, a multitude of reasons can be attributed to this, to say the least. First and foremost, people are unknowledgeable about building up recurring revenue streams. People say that ignorance is bliss, but it can be disenfranchising, to say the least, to be unknowledgeable. The only way to get out of poverty, unbeknownst to most people, is to have your recurring revenue streams as an aggregate generate enough revenue, generate enough cash inflows to offset your recurring expenses. There's no other way to pull yourself out of the muck and mire and get out of poverty. Most people, if they were to work in any capacity, they prefer to receive revenue on the front end, and they prefer to not strategically invest their time into cultivating behemoth brands and creating income generating assets for the prospect of building up their recurring revenue streams. They prefer to relinquish their sacrosanct, indispensable, finite, precious time for a pittance of a non-subsistence wage. They are adamant about borrowing equity out of their time, life, health, happiness, dignity, and future wealth just for a pittance of a non-subsistence wage. They'd rather do that than produce monetizable intellectual properties that have the latent potential to generate revenue for them in perpetuity and provide wealth to future generations. People want a guaranteed wage for their time, energy, and efforts. They do not want to be pursuant of pursuits that are not guaranteed to generate revenue for them. This notion of building up your recurring revenue streams is often unattractive, unappealing to the impetuous, impulsive individual who needs revenue immediately. They'd rather work for a bourgeoisie, receive a pittance of a non-subsistence wage, and be guaranteed a measly hourly rate, rather than invest their sacrosanct time into cultivating behemoth brands and creating income-generating assets for the prospect of fostering their recurring revenue streams. Furthermore, another reason as to why most people do not build up their recurring revenue streams is because they are welfare aristocrats. Welfare aristocrats have unlimited money in tandem with unlimited benefits and do not work in any capacity. They do not work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, and most of them do not even work boondoggles jobs. There are a copious amount of individuals who do, however, work boondoggles jobs. These individuals should never be considered employed because a boondoggles job would never exist in a free market economy. If you work a boondoggles job, that means that your salary, benefits, pension, luxuries, amenities, and vacations are subsidized by people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand. But that's the topic for another video. The welfare aristocrats are deterred to work in any capacity because if they do, then they'll potentially lose their unlimited money in tandem with their unlimited benefits. In this control market economy, people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand are penalized for being productive. Their hard-earned money, the fruits of their labor, is transferred to welfare aristocrats. Against their own volition, they subsidize amenities, luxuries, accoutrements of the high life, and unlimited money and unlimited benefits of the welfare aristocrats, even though people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, often pass away with over $80,000 of debt and work jobs that are often deemed to be dead-end, harrowing, dispiriting, agonizing, debilitating, brutally wretched, ineffably agonizing minimum wage jobs that do not pay even a pittance of a non-subsistence wage. When you work a real private sector job based on voluntary demand, you're all the more poised to succumb to chronic burnout, chronic fatigue, chronic stress, chronic inflammation, and you're all the more apt to severely undermine your quality of life and standard of living, because not only does it cap your income by paying you a non-subsistence wage for your hard work, time, energy, and efforts, but also causes you to borrow equity out of your time, life, health, happiness, dignity, and future wealth, just to be able to receive a pittance of ephemeral, fleeting fiat currency on the front end. And in order to sustain receiving that modicum of fiat currency at a non-subsistence wage, you have to perpetually work for them. And it's a calamitous recipe for disaster, because to sustain working for them, you're borrowing equity out of your time, life, health, happiness, wealth, and dignity, and future wealth, just to receive an iota of fiat currency up front, with no revenue to be earned on the back end. People are welfare aristocrats. They understand the ramifications and the repercussions of working real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, and they are deterred to do so because they do not want to lose their unlimited money and their unlimited benefits. They do not want to degrade their standard of living. They have the utmost highest standard of living. They do not have to work in any capacity and are still able to receive unlimited money and unlimited benefits. On the other hand, if they were to work, then their standard of living would precipitously decrease, and they would have far less money and no benefits, because real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand often do not furnish employees with benefits. So there are a myriad of reasons as to why people do not build up their recurring revenue streams. Even people who are willing to work understand the struggle of strategically working hard at least 14 to 18 hours per day for at least 3 to 15 years to make an earnest, valiant, gallant attempt to cultivate behemoth brands and create income-generating assets to build the recurring revenue streams. They do not want to expend the time, energy, and hard work to do so when they're not guaranteed to earn a penny from the fruits of their strategic hard work. You can create all the videos, or all the archivable live stream broadcasts, all the songs, all the podcast episodes, all the audiobooks, all the ebooks, all the custom-made print-on-demand merchandise, all the online courses, all the software applications, all the mobile games, all the customizable templates, and all the photos that you desire. But at the end of the day, it may not culminate in you generating any revenue on the back end. You are foregoing earning revenue on the front end for the prospect of earning revenue on the back end. And since all the revenue entrepreneurs earned is essentially commission-based, because you do not earn revenue unless your content is consumed or unless your products are consumed, people are typically deterred to be pursuant of entrepreneurial pursuits, even if that causes them to forego building up recurring revenue streams. In terms of investments, people are often reticent about building up lucrative investment portfolios. Why, you may ask? Well, they'd rather assuage their wants and needs now than defer doing so. Their knowledge about stocks was high dividend yields. Their knowledge about index funds, mutual funds, rental properties, annuities, and corporate bonds is infinitesimal. It is scant. So they are unknowledgeable about investment securities and about generating wealth in the capacity of an investor. Then they'll be all the more reticent, all the more disinclined to invest the hard-earned money into investment securities. And when it comes to pursuing entrepreneurial pursuits to build recurring revenue streams that are disparate revenue streams from recurring revenue streams that investors earn, they do not want to dedicate the time, energy, and effort needed to reach that milestone, reach that apex, reach that zenith, reach that pinnacle of having recurring revenue streams derived from their monetizable intellectual properties. People do not know how to create buyer-worthy, engagement-worthy, share-worthy, like-worthy, algorithm recommendation-worthy content for their social media channels that is apt to yield high engagement rates, high watch times, high audience retention rates, and high viewership rates. Most people do not know this knowledge, and they deem it to be more esoteric knowledge because so few people possess this niche knowledge. They do not know about how to produce catchy titles. They do not know how to produce aesthetically appealing thumbnails. They do not know how to produce optimal keywords for the metadata for their content to render it all the more discoverable so that it's not relegated to the bowels of the search engines. So the domain of social media is unbeknownst to most people. They do have some basic rudimentary knowledge about the social media landscape, but they do not know what you need to do on your end in order to be a top performer and in order to be a top competitor on social media platforms. They do not know how to get their content to build substantial traction and transcend into becoming viral content. They do not know how to convince their brand advocates to disseminate their content to their friends, family members, and networks. They do not know how to produce indelible, extraordinary, novel, viral-worthy content that is apt to build substantial traction to the extent that it earns millions of views. They do not know how to automate marketing activities. They do not know how to produce products that assuage unmet needs among a target market. And they often do not know how to attain substantial brand recognition, robust brand equity, strong brand loyalty, and rapidly cultivate brand growth. So, when the knowledge is esoteric, when the knowledge is unknown to the masses, people are all the more disinclined to meticulously research how to be profoundly successful on social media platforms on their own, because most people are not self-motivated, they are not ambitious, they are not driven. They just want to live indulgent lives, and they prefer to not work in any capacity if given the option, and they prefer to indulge in being welfare aristocrats, especially since it allows them to receive unlimited money in the form of handout payments and unlimited benefits in the form of handout benefits. Welfare aristocrats do not have to work in any capacity and are able to attain the utmost highest standard of living. People regroup private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, subsidize their amenities, luxuries, accoutrements of the high life, unlimited money, and unlimited benefits from their transfer payments. I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.